Welcome back to Two Women Left Unsupervised. This week we are discussing energies.
Yes, specifically how to raise energy to protect your home area and protect yourself by use of crystal grids and your own intention.
Willpower.
Yes. Rage. I use rage. I'm always angry, Tony.
Let the darkness flow through you. So, we have been discussing paranormal stuff these last couple of episodes. And so one of the things that kind of prompted this conversation was the house that I live in is built on a battlefield. It's not a very well-known battlefield, and I don't feel like having people coming through my yard with metal detectors, so I'm not going to tell you where I live. Which is probably why the entire town just kind of pretends like it didn't happen.
Right.
But it did, and we did have a battle here, and they do the reenactment outside of town on somebody's farm instead of in town. So one of the things that I encountered was so there's this ghost that kind of travels around, and he was very upset about losing this land. He owned a lot of acreage around here, and it turned out that he would basically be a bully to anybody who got too close to his land. And so he would either chase them off, or he'd basically extort them for money, for rent. And he's kind of an asshole like that. So the story goes that he and his son went to go bully this family that, had their own land. It was theirs. And he decided they had built their house too close to his property line. Yeah. I'm like, dude, you got 1,700 acres. I think you got enough space. So he basically like,
Your house?
yeah, like, so he went out with his kid, and they were going to go like, threaten these people. Well, I guess these people kind of figured out their standard operating procedure because they were ready for them. And in the ensuing fight, this guy's son got shot and killed. So, he tries to bring the homeowner up on murder charges. And not only does the judge say you trespassed on his property and with intent to harm, but you don't own this land, and takes it away.
All of it?
All of it. Sends him back to Maryland.
What?
Oh yeah, so we got a very pissed off ghost. So not only has his son been killed, but now he also loses all this land that he's been guarding like some sort of territorial dog. Fast forward. So we've also got a rock quarry not far from here. So that's a whole lot of energy getting stirred up right there. And it's just a big giant slab of granite going through here with an aquifer. So we've got running water, we've got granite, we've got quartz all throughout clay soil. So this thing hangs out all over town, and not only on this block, but down that way and down that way across the railroad tracks and everything. And basically just messes with people, basically does what he did in life, which is scare the hell out of people and try to force them out of their houses. So our house, before we bought it, had sat vacant for about 2 years. I don't know if it was the orange motif that scared people off throughout the entire house, or
Really?
now it's pretty. It was not pretty before. Like, all this woodwork you see behind me was orange.
I've seen pictures.
Yeah, you've seen the pictures, but the viewers at home have not. That thing right there, that orange thing, was the color of all of this, and then the walls were beige.
Lovely orange shag carpet from like the 60s.
Yeah, it was like the carpet was like this color.
Yeah.
And it was awful, just awful. And it was this like reddish orange on all of the trim, and then the walls were beige and kind of sort of a little bit stucco, but not really. So it was like horsehair plaster with a little bit of stucco over it. And then we get in here, and the place is definitely haunted. And so when we first moved in, I heard the doorbell ring, but it wasn't the doorbell that we've got. And I went and I looked outside. I didn't see anybody, and then I realized, I turn around and I look, and it's, we've got those big chime doorbells, and what I heard was the ding dong, like the old 1940s houses, and I was like, that's not what I just heard. So I go outside and I hit the doorbell button, and sure enough, chimes all over the damn place, and I'm like, whoa, that is not what I heard. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't know why I heard that. So I go back to work again, and then I hear an old phone ring in the foyer. And I'm like, yeah, and phone ringing is something you don't even think about. It's just automatic. You go to answer the phone the second you hear it ring. And it was like that princess phone ring, that old princess phone, where it's like ring, ring kind of thing. And I'm like, immediately don't even think about it. I just go over to the foyer where I hear the phone ringing, to the spot where I hear the phone ringing, and realize, one, there's no phone there. Two, there's not even service in the house yet. And three, there's no phone wire. There's not even a jack. So I'm like, okay. And, a little bit later on, as we were renovating, we were in the basement, and I was looking up and I see these wires, and I'm like, those are old phone wires. And I follow them, and sure enough, they would have come up right into that spot. And there's that little alcove where a phone would have been back in the day. So, yes, we have ghosts. And so basically what I did, because we had this nasty thing outside, was I cleared the house. I cleansed it and everything from top to bottom.
Since we are talking about like a how-to, why don't we explain how you clear and cleanse a house?
For me personally, and I think it's got to be your own personal touch. I don't think there is a cut and dry way to do it.
Oh yeah, right. There's no
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Like there's no right or, I mean, there's definitely a wrong way to do it, but there's no particular right way that's by the book. There is no book.
Right.
Basically, it's a lot of willpower, and it's what feels right for you. So for me personally, when I cleared the house, it was sage, it was rue, it was lavender, it was myrrh and frankincense. And it was a mix, and then it was holy water.
Yeah, see, I use sage and cedar and lavender and rose.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good combo. And so what I did when I cleansed was I opened up all the windows and basically said, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, and invited anybody who didn't have any good intentions to leave. So walked from the basement all the way up to the attic and back down again, and did that about 3 times. And so after the whole cleansing thing, I would put holy water across the windowsills and across the doorways, and black salt, and kind of seal it, with the intention that nothing with no negatives can come through, nothing that intends harm can come through.
Yes.
And after that, I did it on the porches, and I also did it around the yard. So the yard actually has crystals buried at the 4 corners and in between, and the grid has 3 layers to it. So the center layer is around the house and around the sycamore tree, and then the next layer is the garden area, and then the outer layer is the perimeter of the property. But I used tourmaline, black tourmaline. I used green calcite, and I used quartz, lots of quartz tumbles, and again, black salt, holy water. So basically I cleansed the yard too. So it was all the sage, all the frankincense and myrrh, lots of incense everywhere.
And then, people look at you like you're crazy, but hey, whatever.
Yeah.
And now let's explain the reasoning for the crystals. The black tourmaline is protective and it repels negativity. Um, the green calcite, now I know what I would have used it for.
I use
Um,
healing.
yes, healing and like good vibes
Yeah.
just in general. And then what else did you say you used?
Quartz.
Okay, and then quartz is a great amplifier. It helps to direct the energy and it helps to just kind of raise it and keep it going.
Yep. And
Now, go ahead.
the tourmaline and the calcite are on the four corners, and
Mhm.
then quartz is it's on the corners and it's on the in between.
Yes.
And then coming in is more quartz,
Hmm.
and then in the center is another tourmaline, smoky quartz, and regular quartz, and green calcite,
Okay.
and I think blue calcite too.
Very nice.
Yeah, so it's a pretty intense grid, and I mean you can feel it when you walk into the yard.
Yeah, it feels nice in your yard.
Yeah, like everybody loves the yard, and it's energetically charged like that. Plus the crystals that I have out in the garden, it's basically like a giant generator right now.
Now, is you said holy water? Is that holy water you got from a Catholic church, or is that holy water that you blessed yourself?
That is holy water from a Catholic church with rose water included,
Okay.
that I got from an online shop, but
Okay.
I also mixed it with Glastonbury water.
Okay. Because I would use water that I charged and blessed myself, just because the Catholicism doesn't quite resonate as much with me. So
Yeah,
it all is about your intention and your personal energy. So since the Catholicism, the holy water doesn't really resonate so much with me, it wouldn't work as well for me as it
right.
does. But since I have my own moon water that I have made in a jar that I've put runes on and things that I do resonate with and charged with black tourmaline and has selenite around it. Selenite is also an amplifier and a protective stone, just by the way.
Super pretty.
Yeah, it is super pretty. It glows. um, that, and I've said prayers over it and asked my goddess and my God to assist me in protecting my family. That's what I use because that's what works for me. Um, and I also do you got to open a window because you got to give them a way out or you're just
Yes,
going to piss them off,
exactly.
honestly.
And I
And
mean, I open windows and doors. It's
mhm,
all open. The house gets aired out.
I can't open doors because the dogs,
Ah,
but
uh,
I do open windows.
yeah.
Um, but lost my train of thought. Yeah, so I do go from top to bottom and I go from center out and I do the same in the yard. And I have a similar setup, but I have black tourmaline and black kyanite interspersed with quartz. I don't have the calcite. I just have the black stones.
Yeah, I've got a lot of calcite out in the yard now. Um, I bought it like by the pound. So, uh,
Calcite's one of my favorite stones. I have it all over the house though, and then
yeah,
I have crystals all around the house as well.
yep,
And in bowls and whatever, and the kids know not to touch them. Everybody knows not to mess with them. The cat likes to lay by them, and the dogs like to hang out by them, but nobody touches them because they know, like, because I've explained to the kids since they were little, those are mommy's rocks, and they have a job to do.
yep,
I know you like the colors. Why don't you pick out a small one from these, and that can be your rock.
yep.
So they each have their own crystal collections at this point.
My husband and son have done an excellent job of supplying me with crystals.
Yeah, my son he finds stuff, and he brought me this amazing piece of quartz
Nice,
that he just found out playing at the park.
nice.
There's not quartz in the area.
That's weird.
He
You'd think
just,
there'd be tons of it. Because
well, not at the exact area, not at the exact area where he was.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, like, that area should still be part of the granite slab that's going
No,
through.
there's quartz
Yeah.
where we live, but in the area where he was playing. It's not there anymore because they've dug it up and they've made like a baseball field, and all of that was removed.
Yeah. That's
So he
wild.
finds it.
That is
I'm like,
wild.
were you digging? No, it was just sitting on the ground. All right. Are you
Cool.
sure you don't want it, buddy? No, mommy, it's yours. He's constantly finding stuff. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
My son likes rocks and plants.
Yeah. Yeah. My son likes to go out, and you know how I talk to plants, and I have my maple tree. And I go out and like I'll touch the trunk, and it'll ground me, because nature is very grounding, and living things, especially trees, have that connection with the earth.
Yeah.
And I have formed a special connection with this tree. Call me crazy, but it's my
Oh,
tree.
I
I
get
hug it. I don't care.
We've
um,
got we've got a sugar maple and a sycamore that
yeah.
I have literally fought with my husband over
Mhm,
the sycamore because his first instinct was to cut it down. And it's got to be over 150 years old. I'm
mhm,
like, there is no way you're touching this tree.
mhm. But yeah, I go out and talk to it, and
Yeah.
I'm making a staff from one of its branches that had to be cut because it was broken.
Mhm.
And of course, I made a point and go out and be like, I'm so sorry that you got hurt. We're going to cut this off so that it's better. Like I would be talking to a child. But
I
then
did that with my mimosa.
I thanked the spirit for the gift and told it I was going to make something beautiful out of it. And the wood's curing now.
Nice.
It should be just about ready for
Nice.
me to start carving and polishing the rest of the way, because it's partially polished.
I
Yeah. Yeah, I talk to that tree like it's one of my children,
Yeah.
which is probably older than I am, so that's ridiculous, but
My one pawpaw tree, I'm nursing back to health because it got transplanted.
mm,
Um, and it's been struggling. And so it's like I go out there and I ended up I've got a rain barrel. So I ended up taking uh one of our friends sent me water from Glastonbury from the chalice well. So I've got 2 vials of that, and I've got a necklace with a Herkimer diamond in Glastonbury water hanging in the garden right now.
mm,
And so I took a few drops of the Glastonbury water and I put it in my rain barrel and basically charged up that entire rain barrel. So
and
now
then
I can also,
flooded Pennsylvania.
huh?
And then flooded Pennsylvania.
And accidentally may have flooded Pennsylvania. So,
Yep.
yeah. Sometimes I don't realize how much kapow I've got.
Yeah, and that's like part of the law of unintended consequences. I'm
Yeah.
always telling my son's really interested in learning. My daughter is as well, but not as much as my son. And I'm always telling him, you have to be aware of the law of unintended consequences.
Yeah.
You have to really think through, if I do this to get X result, what are the other results? What else could happen?
Yeah.
Like if I'm asking for rain here, is somewhere else that needs water going to go dry? Um, but yeah, going back to the plants, make friends with your plants, especially the outside ones, because they can help protect your energetic field. I'm I'm feeling very naked and exposed this year because I was stuck overseas during planting season, and I don't have a garden this year. And I can feel the difference. I don't like it. So I'm, putting extra effort into that push. How often do you recharge your grid?
Um, it pretty much is self-sustaining at this point.
Mhm.
With the way that I did it in a spiral, so it kind of has this whole thing going on now. And
Yeah.
then with the Glastonbury stuff,
Mhm.
um, it's one of those, I can't get to Glastonbury, so I'm bringing Glastonbury to me. And so I basically just charged up the entire yard with that vibe.
Mhm.
And every once in a while, like if the energy starts lagging, I'll give it a little extra zap. But the stones are in place; they're not going anywhere. Quartz does generate an electric field,
Yes.
so it's very specifically placed to create an electrical energy field
Mm-hmm.
that'll charge up the other stones repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's kind of a
That's
self,
the purpose of my kyanite.
yeah,
Only the protection, but also the because kyanite will charge and cleanse other stones.
yeah.
Um, but I do walk my perimeter like I sound like not with a rifle. With
You're like a dog.
a
You're patrolling
my
your area.
surgical rifle, and then I pee on stuff. But no, I walk around and like with sage and whatever, like
Yeah,
quarterly, probably
yeah,
just to check that everything's still in place, and because there's stray dogs and there's raccoons and there's
yeah.
whatever moles, and I've seen gophers, and just want to make sure they haven't disturbed anything.
Yeah. I mean, for where I place the stones, there's no way to disturb it. Like they're buried under the lawn. So if it gets disturbed at all, it's because somebody dug it up.
Well, moles go under the lawn, so
Yeah, they're in the garden. I'm dealing with them right now.
yeah, no, we have moles that go like up under the lawn, so it's a necessity here.
Yeah,
I don't have a choice but to check because of the wildlife that lives here.
yeah. I mean the grid, the way I set it up, it's basically the energy's there
Mm-hmm.
and it's fixed. So the only way it's coming out is if they dig it up and take it out.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with all the quartz we've got going on in the soil, it's just naturally occurring quartz, so it's already like crazy supercharged. And I can go pretty much out to the sycamore and feel the entire grid and if there's any gaps.
Yeah, I can tell. You can feel it. It's like it's like a spot that itches. Like it's
Yeah,
a spot you can't. Yeah.
yeah. Like I can feel it even just sitting here.
Mhm.
I can feel like everything's in place. It's good.
Yeah, and it's comforting.
Yeah.
It is. And what do you do? Like we were talking about that push to get rid of things. So that's something like when you are somewhere that you can't do your crystal grid and you can't have your sage, you need to be able to have your own kind of wards of protection. And I have designed mine so that it's like a sphere and it extends around me for a little bit. So where I am, if you're like within 50 feet, you're good. But that 50 feet is about as much as I can maintain it for other people when I'm not here. Um, and I personally picture it and create it like this is like I'll stand outside. When I want to create it, I stand outside and I have my feet bare. And I picture, your feet don't have to be bare, but I like my feet bare. I picture myself growing roots down into the center of the earth and drawing golden energy up into myself, that fiery, protective energy of the earth's core. And then I draw it to the point where it extends out from me. And then I create, like, in my vision, it's like a membrane, like a bubble, like a soap bubble.
Mhm.
And then I just fill it with that light. And then I ask that my gods and goddesses help me maintain it. And then I seal it and I go. I carry quartz with me or other things to help magnify it and maintain it. But I can usually keep it for a while. And if it starts to feel weak, the next time I'm standing still, I just draw more energy up. And I do it, you can do it at some point once you're used to it without anybody even noticing. But then sometimes you're at a place like in the Tower of London, where it's just so oppressive and so strong. There are things that kind of try and come in your bubble. And then you just have to focus and concentrate, draw that light, and shove them.
Yeah.
Like, you will stay away from me. Not, I'd like you to stay away from me. You will stay away from me. You
Yeah.
will stay away from mine. This is my area. Leave it alone. And it is really like a physical push for me.
Yeah. And I mean, I've experienced places where, like West Point, for example,
Mm-hmm.
could not keep it up at West Point. Oh my God.
Yeah. See,
I had a migraine after. I had to leave because I was gonna throw up. I was just like, I'm done. Because we went into the museum where they had like the tanks and stuff like that, and the bayonets and the guns, and I'm like, I gotta go. I don't feel good. And that snuck up on me because it wasn't like I was not shielding, but it was just so overwhelming that the shield I put up was not strong enough for it, and it just got in there real quick. Um,
I had a
but
lot of practice at the shielding, especially with stuff like that, because of the time I spent in Europe. I was in Germany, I was in the Czech Republic, I was other places, um, the Balkans,
yeah,
most notably that it was difficult because it was fresh. Italy, so I was constantly doing it.
yeah, and I
So
mean,
I learned it's like a muscle, you use it and it grows.
yeah, and for me, it's like, with that particular one, it was just overwhelming. And
Mm-hmm.
then the other time was I was doing a ghost walk at one of the houses on the battlefield in Gettysburg,
Mm-hmm.
and this thing just came right through me. And I was like, what the hell? Because I've never had that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's like, it was the weirdest feeling. And it was like, it did not have good intent, and it was doing it basically just to mess with me. And I don't know. I think it was just a defense mechanism that I just pushed it
Mm-hmm.
because it went right through me, and it's just, I got to go outside. I can't be in here right now. But that was like the only two times that it's been to that point that it's been overwhelming. Otherwise, I mean, the battlefield of Gettysburg energetically is, they're still fighting the fight,
Mm-hmm.
but I think because they believed in the causes they were fighting for, it's not as bad. Like, they died fighting for what they believed in.
Right.
So it wasn't like, was it senseless? Yeah, but at the same time,
It was necessary in
yeah,
my um
and they volunteered, like they went into it. It's not like they got drafted into it.
or that people just came through and attacked them just because of their religion or whatever.
Right.
I came across a lot of that in the Balkans and it was hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rough. And sometimes you're just so overwhelmed by emotion that you can't keep up the shield.
Yeah.
And then it's really rough because then
Yeah.
it gets 10 times worse.
Exactly. And
So I deal with some stuff. I was very worn out by that. Almost like you get overloaded and so you just shut it off. You just shut down. It's a trauma response. And so I shut down for a good long time. Um, my daughter being born saved me from that. But yeah, I was just like overstimulated so much that, it's, I think a lot of people that come back from war and whatever with PTSD, that's why.
yeah.
Just speaking from experience.
Well,
It's too
I
much.
think it's also, as much as you prepare to go into battle, it's like once you get there and you really see that, like,
And you never know how you're going to react.
yeah. And like for me, 9/11, I was in New York. I watched the towers come down. I saw everything on the ground, and I'm just like, walking through the city, and it's like my city, like I love that city, and never once trained for anything like that. And so I can only imagine what military personnel feel like when they go through it, because as much as you may train and you're in simulations and stuff like that, once you get on the ground and you actually see it live,
Smell it, feel it.
smell it, feel it, yeah, the smell still haunts me.
No, yeah.
But yeah, the feeling too, like it was bizarre. It felt like a movie set, like it was gonna, somebody was gonna yell cut, and
Real and not quite real at the same time.
yeah, and realizing this is it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna live or die at this point, and I don't know what it's gonna be.
Yep.
So I think having that in West Point when I went through the museum, where it's like all these feelings of overwhelm and fight or flight, and it's attached to everything in there.
Yep.
And it was just, not to mention retrofitted electrical stuff. So exposed wiring, ungrounded all over the place. I'm like, I'm gonna die.
This is sensitive hell.
Yeah, and so I ended up having to leave the museum. And there's a picture of me standing next to, we called it the Susie size tank, because it was literally big enough for me to fit in.
Like a little baby tank. How cute.
Yeah, it was the little baby tank, and I'm standing next to it like, this would be roomy for me. And it was I don't know if it was one of our tanks or somebody else's, but either way it was like there, and it was this teeny tiny little tank. And I just, I remember seeing it from across the room, and I was like, oh my god, teeny tiny little tank, I gotta go get a picture with this. And standing next to it, I was like, I don't feel good. I don't feel good at all. I gotta get out of here. And it was upsetting too, because I was looking at like the weaponry from the Civil War and all that, and it was beautiful weaponry, like just intricately carved and everything else. And I was like, wow, this is like a work of art, murderous art, but art nonetheless. And I wanted to like keep looking, and so I just like snapped a bunch of pictures and just kept moving, because to stop for any length of time was just devastating.
Museums are strange places.
Yeah.
Especially like I was at the British Museum of Natural History this year. Man, there are some things there that are so beautiful, and they're so sad because of the way they were obtained or whatever. But there was one area I walked through, and whew, it was the area where they had the Celtic items on display. And I'm looking at the art, and it's just gorgeous, but I felt like there were several different versions of myself in the room with me.
Yeah.
If I don't know how to explain it other than that. And they were observing me, and it wasn't an uncomfortable feeling, but it wasn't exactly comforting either. Like, I don't know, I just had to get out of that room.
I feel you.
Yeah. But it was nice, because then Simon took me to see the crystals, and I had a happy again. Because I got to touch a lot of rocks.
Crow brain is happy.
Yeah. Which likes her shiny.
Oh yeah. We just there's a new shop in town that's pretty interesting. I don't know if I'm actually gonna go visit it though. I'll have to see.
Why? Why don't you know if you're gonna go?
I watched one of their live videos, and it was just a really weird vibe.
Just off-putting?
Yeah, like they had really cool stuff, but they had a weird energy. So
Understandable.
so I was like, I don't know, man.
There's a guy that opened up a rock shop in my town, and he's freaking delight. I absolutely, you go in there and you just feel welcomed and supported. Dude doesn't care if you just come in and look. He doesn't care if your kids touch stuff. He doesn't care if you buy anything. He's just happy that you're there.
That's awesome.
And then he has like this box at the front. And with your purchase, he tells you to choose something from the box. When I tell you it's not bad stuff, it's not just like shards or whatever. I actually got a quartz. It's a smoky quartz, and it has the water inclusion,
Ooh.
and that's his bad stuff. I've gotten gorgeous pieces of rose quartz, blue kyanite. I frequent his shop a lot. I got, this wasn't one of the free things, but I got this blue apatite from there with the iron inclusions in it.
Oh my
This,
god.
yeah, I love it so much. And his prices are so reasonable.
That is
Um,
awesome.
yeah, and they feel good. You know,
That's
like
awesome.
there's just some people, their energy when they have their crystals up for sale, they feel good. And then there's other people that don't feel so good. You feel like you have to clear them when you get them home. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not one.
Yeah, I feel like there would be a whole lot of clearing to do if I shopped at this place, and these days I'm just exhausted. I'm too
Yeah,
exhausted to do
sometimes it's
that.
not worth it because there's just so much going on in the world right now that it's hard to keep up.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not just ourselves we have to do it for. It's our children and our partners, and
Yeah.
exhausting. But it is also okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be okay right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
Like
feel
this,
like the world kind of went nuts.
yeah, this isn't a situation where you should be okay. If you are okay, I would be kind of suspicious of you.
Yeah. I'm enjoying that I get to just stay home.
Right? And I like the
Um,
quiet,
yeah.
but is it worth the cost? You know?
No.
And that's
It's
what bothers me.
it upsets me to watch other people around me really having a hard time being just with themselves.
Hmm.
You know, having grown up and been a loner for the most part, like I'm social, but at the same time it's like, you know, I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. I wasn't a popular kid, and I'm okay just being by myself.
Hmm.
You know, I need alone time, I found, as I get older, because it's just so overwhelming to be in, like, around other people.
Yes. Yeah, I understand. I'm an introvert also, but I think also those of us that practice a spiritual path kind of have an advantage in this because we do spend a lot of time in our own thoughts as we're learning and growing and practicing, and we spend a lot of time with ourselves, and we examine our inner workings and why we do what we do. And actually I feel like I'm getting more time to do that now.
Yeah.
um and so it doesn't bother me. But yeah, you're right, it's hard to watch like my brother, you know, like what am I gonna do with my day? Like I'm so bored. Like,
It's like, hey, pick up a book,
yeah,
write a story, you
he
know?
actually, you know, he's been doing really well because he has a workshop in the basement, and he has been in his workshop. And dude, it's nice to see his face when he comes upstairs. You know, that feeling, that secondary happy you get when someone else is just really pleased with how their day went.
I've been getting back into embroidery.
Mhm. I've been getting back into doing my witchcraft. That is gorgeous, honey. And
I love this.
it
It's
is
so
really beautiful. I saw pictures of it online, um, but it's so gorgeous and intricate and beautiful, and I'm just so impressed. What are you gonna put it on?
um I'm debating just leaving it. because here's the other one. So they're supposed to be like
Oh my.
pendants, and I'm like, I kind of like just the way they look like that.
Yeah. Those would be actually pretty if you found a hoop and stretched them over it and then just hung them.
Yeah, I'm thinking of just leaving them in
Leave
these
them in
hoops.
that
Yeah,
would work. Yeah. They're beautiful.
yeah, like this is the whole reason I bought the kit.
Hmm.
Um, because it came on Amazon, and I used to embroider back when I was like 15, 16, 17, 18, like a teenager.
Hmm.
And I loved it. I absolutely loved embroidery. And
I learned it. It wasn't for me.
yeah, I found I found that I had a knack for it. Like I just knew how to do it. Now I'm actually like teaching myself the proper way to do things, rather than just winging it.
I'm teaching myself to crochet.
Nice. I
Yeah.
can help you with that.
I know, but I wanna get as far as I can on my own before I bother other people. That's just how I roll. You know that.
Yes. I finished my knit along.
That's so pretty.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about the color combo, but now it's like really grown on me, and it's like a hug.
I got one of those old-fashioned wax stamping kits,
Yes.
so I can use it with my stuff that I send out for my shop.
Hmm.
So it'll be like my own little insignia thing, and it's this gorgeous like moon, and it has stars hanging from it. It's a
I
crescent
love it.
with stars hanging. It's so pretty, um, and I'm really excited about it. And I wrote people letters specifically so that I could use the wax. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah, I've been doing like my usual knitting and stuff, but when it's hot like this, it's really hard to justify knitting a sweater.
yeah, I get it.
Or even a shawl. I mean, it's hot. So,
Yeah, I'd like to start making body butters and stuff like that again, but it's too hot to make them because they'll melt.
yeah.
Because I make them with um, coconut oil, which is a misnomer because it turns into a relative liquid with your body heat,
Yep.
and then it's kind of in a solid form. So you can imagine what happens if it goes through the postal service right now.
I discovered it when I ordered one of the solid body bars from Lush.
Yeah.
I ordered Tender as the Night, and it was when we had that really bad heat wave where it was like 100 degrees every day,
Mm-hmm.
and it got here, and I had a baggie full of liquid, and I had to stick it in the freezer.
Yeah, I like those too. And I think I sent it to one of our mutual friends in California. And that's when we discovered that the body bars that I make, the lotion bars and the body butters, melt in transit
Yeah.
because the postal service does not keep them cool.
Yeah, and I would like to send out a giant thank you to the Postal Service for
Oh my
continuing to
gosh.
be freaking rock stars in all of this.
If it were not for the United States Postal Service, I would not have a business. I am not like small businesses like my own and like those of a lot of my friends cannot afford to operate if we have to use UPS and FedEx.
Hmm.
Just can't afford the prices. It would shut us down.
Yeah.
People won't pay that for shipping. And
Mm-mm.
then if you incorporate it into the cost, they're not going to buy your merchandise.
Well, not only that, but I mean, the post office employs a lot of veterans,
They
which
do.
I
And
like.
they are like, I don't know what they call it. There's a name for it, but I don't know what it is. But so like you have the metropolitan areas and then you have like the outliers, like the rural places.
Hmm.
If it weren't for the United States Postal Service, they wouldn't get mail
Yeah.
because the FedEx and UPS and DHL won't go to those areas because it's not profitable for them.
Yep.
I think almost the whole state of Alaska
Yeah.
would not get mail.
It's
A
insane.
lot of Wyoming, like I'm so grateful that
Yeah.
we have that, and it's written into our constitution because people actually were thinking. goodness. But yeah, definitely a huge thank you to them.
Yeah,
If it weren't
because
for them, I couldn't be competitive and I couldn't function.
yeah, and I feel bad because I mean this has just been crazy between everybody being sick and stuff like that, and you know our male guy has been amazing through all this. We got this like hippie male guy. He's got tattoos and stuff. I love this guy.
Our mail carrier actually is also named Candy.
Nice.
Yeah. And isn't it wonderful how they know your family, even sometimes without seeing you? But we make a point if we're outside, the kids will go over and talk to her. If it's hot, I'll bring her a cold bottle of
Yep.
water. Be like, wait there, don't go anywhere.
Yep.
And I'll bring her water, like,
As soon as I see our male guy walk up the other side of the block, I know I've got about 15 minutes or so before he comes back around. So if it's hot out, I'll run downstairs and get a nice cold bottle of water and I'll pop it in the freezer for him.
mhm.
And then by the time he gets to our house, I'm like, hey.
Yeah, because they do. They pay attention and they know their route and they know the people on their route.
Yeah,
And I mean, where else are you going to get that kind of customer service?
you're
You know,
not.
I just, yeah, definitely a huge shout out and thank you to them.
Yep.
And, we should do some sort of link down below where people can show support. But, mail letters, like write your grandma a letter. Your grandma misses you. Write your mom a letter. She misses you. And the art of writing letters is really something that we've lost. And I think,
Yeah, my friend Arlene and I have started writing letters to each other again.
yeah, start sending each
She
other
lives like right across town.
write each other. My son, when he goes to his dad's, writes me letters and sends them to me from 2 miles away.
That's so cute.
And they're actually not for me. They're for me to read to the dog.
My son has been writing notes to his friends,
Mm-hmm.
and at the top, so the first note he wrote was to his friend Aria,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the top of the note is 1 of 10, and I'm like, and then he wrote another one to his friend Emery, and it's 2 of 10, and I'm like, I don't think this is how this works.
Yeah, limited edition.
Yeah, I'm like, and
Yeah.
I can't yell because he's reading and writing and he's
Mhm.
asking about spelling and I'm like, okay, yes, do this thing.
Yeah, and my son's handwriting has been bad because he has the trouble with the motor skills.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I have a surprise for him. He comes home from his dad's today, and I ordered him, he likes space and the nebulas.
Mm-hmm.
I ordered him a box of like empty greeting cards, and it's 4 different nebula scenes from space.
That's
And
awesome.
it's the cards and envelopes so that he can mail things to people. And I really want him to come home, not just because of that, because I want to give them to him.
That's
It's
gonna
so
be so
hard when he
fun.
FaceTimes me not to show him.
Oh man, that's rough. I wouldn't be able to hold on to it. I'd be like, here, just take it.
How bad I am with surprises. Like, I made a surprise for you and was supposed to bring it to you, and I told you what it was a week before I got there. Like, this is so hard.
It is. I hate keeping surprises because it's like I know it's gonna make somebody so happy and I don't wanna like put that off. I wanna give it to them now.
I want the instant gratification. Yeah.
Well,
I
it's
know.
not even so much that. I want them to be happy now. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want them to have to wait to be happy. It's like,
Yeah.
no, I want you to have it now so you can be happy now and you can be happy next week and you can be happy the week after that and you'll have more happy.
I totally get it. I totally get it. But yeah, I'm really excited.
That's
And I'm
awesome.
really excited to see who he writes to. I know he wants to write you a letter, and he's already made you a picture. He wants to write to Tara. He's made her a picture.
Aw,
Yeah.
so cute.
Yeah, he's a sweet guy.
I'm so glad he's enjoying my books.
He
That
loves them.
that thrills me.
Yeah, he loves them, and they're age appropriate. I mean, he's asked a couple of questions like,
I don't know about the first 3 in the Mortal War series.
no,
How
all
old is he now?
he's 13.
Yeah.
So he's asked about mentally he's, you know, he's more than 13, but sometimes he's much less than 13. Sometimes he's 5, sometimes he's 25.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. But he's only asked me things about like how to pronounce things like gnosis and nemesis and lamaya and things like that. Otherwise, certain phrases he'll be like, well, what is that? Well, and it opens up really good talks too, so I'm good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
Yay. I'm so excited.
I know. This is getting long though. We should probably.
Yeah, I know. We were talking about energy and we're ending on a good note. We're ending on very positive energy. So,
Yeah, we should definitely. I hope that you have been able to feed off of our positive energy and feel it from there. Um, what are we going to talk about next time?
probably more ghost stories because that's a lot of fun.
That is a lot of fun. We could talk about, we could look up some ghost stories and research them and tell them. Let's do that.
Yeah, I think that'll be the next thing. The researched ghost story.
Yeah, the research ghost story. You got the moves.
I got the moves like Jagger.
Yeah, and on that note, please do like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends,
If we have entertained you at all, let us know. Comment below. Let us know if there's any ghost stories you'd like us to research and talk about.
Oh, that would be cool.
I would love to learn ghost stories from everybody's hometowns. I think
that would be amazing if people would comment ghost stories for us to research.
Yeah.
How much fun would that be?
What if we start with like the New Jersey Devil from the Pine Barrens?
Okay, so we both research it or just one of us?
I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go.
That works.
It.
Just like we do. All right, so stay tuned and figure out how we do the New Jersey Devil. Bye.